Hello and welcome back to Kevlin B. In this video, we will solve a unique Indian consulting guesstimate on wedding industry. So the question statement for today is, what is the annual market size of India's wedding industry? Now before diving in, let me clarify the scope. We are calculating total revenues in Indian rupees for 1 year, and we will include all kinds of wedding across all religions and all states. Also, wedding industry can mean different things. The core wedding services actually includes venue rental, catering, decoration, photography, and entertainment sources. But the extended market would also include products like jewelry, bridal attire, traveling packages, and gifts. But for today's analysis, I'll focus on core wedding services, which is more conservative and widely reported definition. So let me show you my approach now. So the master formula is straightforward. Market size equals number of wedding multiplied by average cost per wedding. The challenge is estimating both these components accurately. For the number of wedding, I will start with India's population as we did in our previous videos also, and then filter for the marriage age, identify the potential couples from them, and then apply the annual marriage rate. For average cost, I will segment the wedding by expenditure levels for from ultra luxury to budget, and I will divide into three categories: high expenditure, middle expenditure, and low expenditure, and then calculate a weighted average. Now, this two-pronged approach will give us a structured part to our answer. So let's start calculating with the number of weddings first. So as we discussed, starting with the population, which is 1.4 billion, the marriage age cohort typically from 21 years to 35 years represent about 24% of India's population. That approximately gives us 300 million people in the marriage age range. Now, since marriage is between two people, I need to divide by 2 to get the number of potential couples. So 300 million divided by 2 equals 150 million potential couples. But of course, not all 150 million couples will get married in a single year. People get married evenly across these 15-year age span. So let me show you how to estimate the annual marriage rate here. So we had 150 million potential couples, and those are spread across a 15 years age cohort from 21 to 35. So each age year will have 150 divided by 15, that is 10 million couples. So that actually means there are 10 million couples who are 21-year-old, 10 million who are 22-year-old, and so on till 10 million who are 35-year-old. Now, here's the key assumption that we are going to make. Each year, people get married across all these age years. Example, some couples from 21-year group, some from 22 years, 23 years, etc. will get married. If marriage happens evenly, then from each age group, about 1 out of 15 couples will get married. Let me explain this in a simple way. So assume there are only 15 couples in each age year. Like 15 couples are 21 years, 15 are 22 years, and so on. Now, in a particular year, say 2026, not all 15 couples who are 21 in this year will get married. Some couple from 21, some from 22, and so on will get married. So, since our age cohort is of 15 years, that is 21 to 35, I'm assuming all the couples in a particular age year will get married evenly in these 15 years. That is, in 2026, from 21-year group, one couple will get married. In 2027, another couple from the same group will get married, and so on till all of them gets married by 2041, which is 15 years from now. So what we are doing basically here is we are distributing these marriages from one group evenly across 15 years. So that's why we will divide by total number of couples in an age year by 15 to get couples getting married, and then we will multiply by 15 to get total marriages across all segments. So coming back to our original number that we had 10 million couples in each age year, dividing them by 15 and then multiplying by 15, we will get 10 million weddings in India in 1 year. Now I know it is a bit confusing, so just rewind few minutes back and listen carefully again. You will understand. Also, these are just the assumptions that we are making to give rationale to our logic. In real life, everybody knows the case is not like this. Now, let's see the expenditure segmentation. So as we discussed, there will be three segments: high, middle, and lower income. So, starting with the high expenditure segment first, which represents around 10% of the total number of weddings. So, we had 10 million weddings, and 10% of 10 million is 1 million. I'm assuming their average expenditure to be around 3 million. So, we get our total expenditure from this segment alone to be around 3 trillion Indian rupees. For middle expenditure, which are 40% in number or around 4 million, uh, I'm assuming their average expenditure to be 4 lakhs or 400,000 rupees. So the total expenditure comes out to be 1.6 trillion Indian rupees. From lower expenditure weddings, I'm assuming their average expenditure is 1 lakh and they represent 50% of the total weddings, that is around 5 million. So market size from this segment comes out to be 500 billion Indian rupees. This is the same approach we did in our electric vehicle cases. Now, if we add these three numbers, we'll get the total market share size to be around 5.1 trillion Indian rupees. Now, let me give you some context also. This represents around 10 million weddings at an average of about 5 lakh per wedding. So, 5.1 trillion divided by 10 million, we get 5 lakh rupees expenditure per wedding. Also, India has the second largest wedding market globally after China, and it is one of the most culturally significant and economically vibrant industries in the country. It is important to note our 5 trillion estimate covers only core wedding services, as we discussed earlier. If we expand the definition to include jewelry, which is often the single largest expense, bridal and groom attire, travels, gifts, beauty services, and so on, the number will jump to around 10 to 12 trillion annually. I mean, jewelry alone can add 3 to 4 trillion to the market. So, depending on how broadly you define wedding industry, the number can range from conservative 5 trillion to core services to around 10 to 12 trillion for the entire ecosystem. But for this analysis, I have stayed with the 5 trillion core services estimate, which is mostly commonly reported and a defensible number. So that's it for today's video. In this video, we learned a new logic on how to make an assumption, and this is how we can estimate the annual market size of wedding industry in India. Now, I want you to think about this. Which cost category do you think contributes the most to the total market size? Is it food, jewelry, venues, or clothing? Comment your reason and your assumptions below. I'll review and respond. In the next video, we will solve another real world market sizing case using the same consulting framework.